start
Okay.
streaming. Well, according to my thing, it says we are live.
All right. Say I haven't gotten a notification
Okay, it usually takes a
for
second.
it. Oh wait. There we are. It's live. All right, there we are.
We are live. Awesome.
Huzzah! It's working, Scott. You've done it.
I've done it. Now we have two people who can set up
You
live
can
stream
see
when we
this.
want to do it.
Yeah, more or less.
We'll see if anybody
Woo.
actually joins us for this one, though we're kind of making it for anybody who just wants to watch. Um,
Yeah.
what I think I'm going to do is we're going to do this. I'm just going to make a little post onto the Need for Dweeb podcast saying, hey, we're kind of changing how we're doing this. Go check us out on YouTube.
Mhm.
And we'll have our new spring 2022 pre-anime review posted there with some visuals, and we'll be talking. It'll be a bit more candid kind of idea. And
Yeah.
I think that's going to do. So, yeah, big surprise to anybody who's actually watching us live. This is our split off podcast, Need for Weeb, where we talk
Yep.
about anime, specifically the new anime that's coming out in the upcoming season.
Yeah, and I would like to think that we have a pretty novel approach to this idea because there's a lot of other people out there who do this where they're like, okay, well, let's talk about the anime that's coming up, and like they normally look at the previews or they look at the artwork and everything like that. And we, on the other hand, we're like, okay, what actually has manga for it? And then we go looking for that manga
Yeah.
and read a couple of chapters on in and make our judgments based off of that because ultimately every anime is kind of a glorified commercial for the original story
Yeah.
and so let's actually have a look at the original story and see if it's any good.
Well, yeah, and I like looking at the original story and getting an idea of, hey, this might be cool, or I don't like the sound of that kind of idea before I fully jump into it. And that's kind of what we want to do here. We want to get like a quick synopsis. So we usually only read like 5 chapters unless we really get into it and decide to just keep reading.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It happens.
Oh no, so there've definitely been some manga that have just like kind of sucked me on in and I'm like, whoo, this is awesome. And then there have been others that have just completely turned me off
Right, exactly.
to it. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have some things to say about some of these anime that we're about to look
Right.
into.
And if there's any anime that you as the watchers know about that you want us to talk about, just let us know in the chat. We'll try to reach into it. We try to make this like video size as manageable as possible, so we usually only pick 10, well plus some of the like returning seasons of the anime that's coming out. But which means
Hmm.
we're not going to hit everything. But if there is one you as the listeners want us to talk about, just let us know, because we'll definitely get around to it.
Yeah,
What should we start with the returning anime then?
yeah, yeah. Let's jump right on into those returning
All
anime.
right. What would you like to get?
So first of all, it's right there at the top. Kaguya-sama,
Yes.
Love is War. I freaking love this story. It is absolutely adorable. I've enjoyed the anime so much, and I'm just gonna say I personally feel I know like I've discovered I'm in the minority on this, but the opening for season one is phenomenal.
Oh,
Freaking love
I
it.
I agree. I love the opening for season 1 more than I did season 2 by far.
Yay! Someone else agrees with me. I found all these other people who are like, no, season two's opening is way better, and I'm just all like, the visuals are still phenomenal, but just that first Love is War
Yeah.
set, that number is just it's
Oh, it's
perfect.
insane. I love it.
So Jazzy,
Um
I feel like if I had like a copy of that
yeah.
and like like brought it back in time to like the age of jive and whatnot, and had that played, I feel like that would just like
Ooh.
fit in. No one would question that it was Japanese. Everyone would still dance to it.
Yeah, very much so. I'm hoping they pull out another really good one for this season, which I feel like they might. These past two seasons have been fantastic. First season was very much like building all the characters up, establishing like the comedy and the humor and like the character backstories. And then you got more and more of that as you got to know about anything. Um, about like the whole story into the second season, and I feel like it's just going to keep growing on top of that.
Mhm.
Who knows when we're actually going to get a kiss or anything like that. Something like this could just go on forever, but it's a fun time. It's honestly a fun time.
There's I think there's something to be said about like a story that it doesn't really like in a way, like I don't need these characters to actually like kiss or anything like that. I just need more shenanigans.
Exactly.
And what I like about Love is War is that there is noticeable incremental progress towards a stronger relationship
Mm-hmm.
between all of these different characters. And as it becomes a little bit more romantic, it's fun.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
I like that. If you just want them to get together really fast, which sometimes I know I definitely want my love interest to get together. I think you have to judge it on a story by story basis.
Yeah,
And Love is War, like the title wouldn't work if it wasn't a long slog to
yeah,
actually get them in a relationship.
yep, exactly. And that's why I love we've got all these other characters that are like learning and growing and laughing along with the like two main characters, just so it's not just the two main characters like and their like battles for love and all that kind of stuff. You get all these other characters and their shenanigans as well, and so like you don't feel as frustrated with the two main characters for not kissing yet.
Hmm. Yep.
So I'm excited for that one. I'm excited that they're continuing this one specifically and not just like leaving on the wayside. But yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, this is definitely one story that I was a little bit concerned for, because I did think that it was like, oh, this is kind of like a one hit wonder. It was going to have one really excellent season, and
Yeah.
then they were going to be done with it. And then like after season two, I was all like, I kind of like, I have a feeling that we're going to get a Spice and Wolf pulled on us, where it's obviously really good, but then just gets discontinued. So third season, I love it.
Yep. That is awesome. All right, let's move on to our next one. How about we do Komi-san?
Ooh, okay.
I still need to
I
watch
have
the
to.
first season. I'm sorry.
I have not yet finished season one. I've watched up to the last episode. I freaking love Komi-san.
I mean,
It is it is so adorable. And here's the thing: it is a story that I feel should speak to a lot of people who
yes.
deal with like social anxiety,
Yes.
speech impediment, or just feeling like they don't fit in.
Mhm.
As someone who actually grew up with a speech impediment, it does come through every now and then, especially on live streams. You might hear
Yeah.
me stutter and like get in a rut and I can't get out of it. Like I still have to deal with that, and that
Yeah.
caused social anxiety, shyness. So Komi-san definitely speaks to me, and I have like family members and friends that I feel like this would definitely speak to. And it's so sad because so many people just get hung up on like the obvious like relationship baiting that's going on in Komi-san. And I'm like, that's cute and everything, but that's not the entirety of the story. It's about Komi coming out of her shell and learning how to communicate, and it's
Yeah.
so adorable.
Yeah. Like
Ah,
and just the manga itself, like I it's another one of those I'm behind on, but I've read a good 200 something chapters of Komi-san and I love it so much. It's so precious. It's just so
I mean,
precious.
I do agree with some people that the love triangle that shows up later on is a little bit
Oh,
weird.
yeah, it is a little weird, especially when it's like, oh, let's forgive each other and just continue being friends and all that kind of stuff, which it like I could see it in character, but it's makes things even more awkward, if that makes any sense.
Mm, yeah, say. Well, I mean, we'll see. We'll see how. I mean, we'll see where Komi-san as the
Yeah.
series goes. I'm actually surprised that it's getting a second season so soon.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was going to happen like that.
Well, I
So
think it's kind of the Netflix treatment of it. It's not like
that is
Netflix
true. Netflix
has
is
like
behind this.
access to publish it pretty much over the whole world. So it's not just like individual little um like businesses it has to work with. So like here in the States it's like Crunchyroll or Funimation they'd have to work with, or in another country it'd be something different. Netflix just goes to everybody. And so I feel like they're able to get a wider audience because of that, throwing it up on Netflix.
That's true. Netflix does. I'd forgotten that Netflix is behind this. So yeah.
Yep. Yep. But I'm excited it's getting a second season. It's really popular manga. I work at a Barnes and Noble and I see people buying that one all the time. So, really good one. Really good one. All right, let's move on to the next one. Do you want to do Ascendance of the Bookworm?
Okay. Ah. Okay. I think I told you this earlier, Scott, and I'm
You
just going to say
did.
it here again. And I wish I had not spoiled myself for Ascendance of a Bookworm.
Okay.
Uh, I don't even know how I even got to it. I was just meandering about on YouTube, and I saw stuff about Ascendance of a Bookworm, and I was just all like, "Oh, I really like that. I really need to finish. I need to catch up with season two." And so I just decided I'd watch it. I figured it was going to be like a review of season two. No, it is a spoiler for the very last light novel. And I was like,
Oh no.
"Oh, that's what happens." I was like, "I'm crushed inside."
Oh
Like
no.
I guess I'm happy. I'm happy that these characters are all happy, but I did not think that that stuff was going to happen. I'm like, oh. And so like I just don't know. Like I'm just like I don't know if I can bring myself to continue watching. It's such a cute series.
Yeah.
And I like its take on isekai.
Okay.
I really do where like I mean it's something that's happened with many other stories where an older
Mm-hmm.
person goes into a younger person's body
Right.
and everything, and so like there's the matters of maturity and whatnot. But I just like the fact that like she is just a bookworm. She's trying to make her own books. She's trying to live her best life
Yeah.
in a world and situation that is kind of rigged against her.
Oh no.
And I liked that.
Yeah.
And just knowing where it eventually ends up, I'm like, "Hey, girl, you got what you wanted.
I
I'm
mean,
not sure if I liked what you
right.
got."
I mean, that's
uh,
pretty simple, like storytelling 101 kind of thing right there. You've got what your character wants, don't make it easy for them to get, and like have all these different ways they have to like jump through hoops and like figure out a way to get to their goal. And sometimes that goal's not exactly what they originally thought. But I mean, just simple, good storytelling in a way.
yeah.
So, yeah, I'll have to pick this one up and actually sit down and watch it. It's not one I've started, but it looks cute. It looks like fun. I like the. A lot of the time, I really like the more lighthearted isekai, like
Mhm.
kind of easygoing, kind of fun stuff. So,
There's definitely some good easygoing stuff to this one. I like the subplot in season one about making shampoo,
no,
and
no.
I'm like that makes total sense because uh, like if I were to get isekai to another world, especially into some medieval world, I would be like, okay, guys, we're making toothpaste, floss, deodorant, shampoo, soap, and we're not just going with salt and mint and pine, which actually does work to help brush your teeth.
Hmm.
It's not as effective as actually having like the good stuff.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of science that goes into almost any product you buy at the store nowadays.
Yeah. There's no Wikipedia to help you out,
Yeah,
unless you're in a garbage isekai story.
true, true. That's very true. All right. Let's see. And then last one for returning season, we'll have Rising of the Shield Hero, which I'm excited to see how they handle the second season, and I'm also not excited to see how they handle the second season because
Okay,
I've read ahead of ways into this.
Okay, explain that to me because like you were absolutely in love with Rising of the Shield Hero when it first came out.
Yeah,
Like you were taught because you had read ahead in the story. You said you
yeah.
knew all these things, and so like what? And so like give us a preview.
Okay.
What is making what's making you feel a little antsy about it?
Well, it put a lot of effort into expanding the world that they're living in, like especially after the end of the first season. Which, can you remind me where the first season ended off? Where
The first season ends off very shortly after the princess and the king are taken to
Oh,
trial
that's right. Is
for
this the
their
third
for their
season that's
crimes.
coming out now, or is it the
Oh,
second?
this is the second season.
This is the second season. Okay.
This is the second season. Yeah.
Um.
No,
So
they just went. It was the full 24 episode
right.
deal.
Okay. So I don't think we're gonna get into the problem area that I'm thinking of specifically this season. Then, they were in the like picture I've got posted here. We've got a few really fun new characters. One kind of ditzy, a really cool swordswoman kind of idea thrown in here.
That's the one who was mistreated in the one in
Yeah,
from her
yeah,
party, correct?
in the Bow Heroes party, and
Yeah.
she ends up becoming really awesome later on. So there's some great characters that they're adding, and I love how it builds up like into finding out, oh, there's some bigger forces going on in this world, and if the heroes can't work together, it's just gonna wreck everything kind of idea. And looking at the little preview picture that I found here that I've got expanded for the video, you can see something they're gonna fight against. I'm not gonna get into specifics, but
Mhm.
it's big. Um,
Oh yeah, I can definitely tell.
right?
I really enjoy the idea of other heroes being brought in from other
Yeah,
dimensions.
yeah.
And like at first, I thought that when I first saw that, I'm like, oh, that bugs me. But then as it played out, I'm like, actually, no,
Mm-hmm.
I like this.
Yeah,
This is really good, and it's such a brilliant critique,
yeah.
at least in my opinion, against Naofumi's co-heroes
Yes.
in this world.
Y-
Being able to see who the other heroes are in other dimensions, I'm like, I want these guys.
Yeah.
I would murder the bow, the sword, and the spear heroes for these people.
Right. It, you just have to be careful with that because what I'm worried about is how complicated this story is going to turn out to be. Because, like, you get to the end of, like, fighting the big thing that they're kind of teasing here, and then you end up getting into a bunch of dimension hopping, you get into a bunch of, like, time travel shenanigans and all that kind of stuff, and there's just a lot of just random stuff going on that regard, and so
Mhm.
you really have to pay attention to what's going on where, and that's what's got me worried about it. But I'm
Well,
excited for what's coming.
I think part of that comes down ultimately to the right to the story to the showrunners, the
Right.
storyboardists, and the script writers really taking their time with figuring out what will work and what doesn't. Because one of the things that I was wondering about is for a series that was really popular when it premiered, why it didn't get greenlit for another season. And
Mm-hmm.
sure, people say, "Oh, it takes 3 years for the next season to be greenlit," and to that I say, "Nah, not really,"
Not really.
because because if because like for instance, Demon Slayer,
Yeah.
they cranked. UFO Table did a phenomenal job of cranking out Demon Slayer way faster than I think anyone expected
Mm-hmm.
them to. Who they did not know that
Yeah.
this was going to take off. If they did, they have some sort of amazing seer on their side. side. It's always that they put their heart and soul into Demon Slayer, but you don't. So many other anime actually do, but they don't blow up and become absolutely amazing
Yeah.
and take over the world. So it's possible. It is very possible for a series to just get greenlit again for its next season and get cranked out. And from what you're saying, I think that makes sense now why Rising the Shield Hero has taken so long for its next season. It's not because people in the West got really butthurt because Raftalia was a slave, but because the showrunners are like, okay, the next couple arcs are going to get really intense.
Yeah.
How can we make this palatable in anime?
Right. Exactly. I don't think it's gonna get into that like really complicated stuff I was talking about. And I think what I'm struggling with is they had so much more like that was teased of the world that they're currently in. And suddenly, oh, we're gonna start trying to jump into other dimensions. What about the world that you started in?
Mm-hmm.
Why couldn't we have continued there for a little bit longer?
Yeah.
What is
Well,
my
who knows?
concern?
Who knows where in the season this is?
Yeah.
So sometimes you get images like these that are like they're meant to call out to the people who are the big fans.
Mm-hmm.
Be all like, yes, we are doing that, but you just don't know when.
Right. Exactly.
So yeah, so
Should...
so we'll see. That's one of the things where like I know this is an anime that's right now showing, but you've got Sabuki Bisco,
Oh yeah.
which I intend to do like a video kind of on that later on, like how it's off the rails, and and honestly, it's up to your taste of whether you think it's a good thing or a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're all like, but they basically talk to the light not to the light novel author and like, okay, where does the story end? And he's like, oh, it ends over here. I'm not yet there. And they're like, oh, don't you worry, we're going to get you to that ending, and like skipped everything in
Right. Right.
between.
All right. Should we move on?
Yeah.
So let's stay in the isekai frame of mind and let's move on to. I'm going to go down to the bottom, the executioner and her way of life.
Okay.
Because I think this one has some weird potential to it. I don't know how it's like actually going to pull it off, but it could be interesting.
I'm not sure. My note right here on it is I'm not sure what to think of this one, but shippers are going to go wild for
Yes.
this.
Yes,
This
exactly.
this is there for all those people who want something where they can just ship people.
Yeah.
Like that's the vibe I'm getting. I don't know if the executioner and her way of life is exactly for me. Especially when I
Yeah.
then saw it's all like from the people who brought you. Is it wrong to pick up a girl in the dungeon? I'm like, oh boy.
Hey,
I have a guilty pleasure for Danmachi, but at
yes.
the same time I can only take so much.
Exactly. I get that too. I don't know. I feel like this one's a little bit smaller focus. There's less characters you have to worry about in this one, but that could also hurt it as well. Because it's very much focused on you have this girl that's isekai'd into this fantasy world and find out, oh no, isekai people, not a good thing according to certain people in this world, and they need to kill her. But she has an ability that makes her about impossible to kill. So you've got this executioner who's trying to kill this basically immortal girl, and there's some different kind of sparks flying throughout the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
I love the idea of the initial tension, and it kind of reminds me, like especially the first chapter, it reminds me of the anime came out recently called Talentless Nana, which
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like. And I'm hoping this one can
Yeah.
redeem that kind of setting, but I don't know if it will. I'm not sure if I'm gonna like actually watch it. That was the catch.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm already so busy with so much
Yeah.
other stuff on my plate. I'm looking at this one, I'm like, yeah, this one didn't grab me, so I'm gonna pass.
Right. Right.
I think once again, there's definitely a certain uh, audience for this.
Yeah.
They're going to eat it up and enjoy it, and that's totally fine. But this one did not connect with me.
Right. Well, let's move on to I Will Quit Being a Hero, Yusha Yamemas. I'm not sure what the actual English name for this one's gonna be.
Oh,
Um,
what? I think I did see what it was going to
oh,
be.
you did?
Let me a double check. Ba-ba-da-ba-da.
This one's it ends up being
I'm
very.
quitting. I am quitting heroism, or I'm quitting
Oh, okay,
heroing. Is the two ones that I'm
okay,
seeing right here.
okay. That works. That works. Probably better than my
Yeah.
translation of it. But
Okay. So, oh boy,
oh boy, oh
I'm
boy.
I am not sure. Like, I was super excited for this one,
Okay.
and then I started reading the manga, and I'm like, this this is an example of a great premise, not so well executed.
Uh oh.
At least, at least that's the way it is for the first 5 chapters in. So I like the premise. I'm going to watch it. I'm hoping that it does better beyond what I read.
Right. Exactly. Uh oh. We're having problems with the live stream.
Oh,
Um. It just says,
see, it got all fuzzy.
yeah. It got all fuzzy, and it's saying it's not receiving enough video. So I'm guessing my connection got a little weird there for a bit. But I think we're still getting it through.
Oh,
So we'll just continue, and if it
yeah.
all out fails, I'll let you know.
Say, I mean, the audio's still coming through, so
Okay, I think that's the important part. Um,
yeah.
yeah, back to this one. So I don't know. It ends up being more slice of life than anything.
I'm totally fine with. I'm
Yeah.
totally fine with that. I just for the first 5 chapters, I wasn't very convinced. Especially, I'll actually say what honestly didn't convince me is the main character, the hero.
Yeah.
Like I get the idea that he's supposed to be OP, and like I'm actually okay with that. But it's just he's like, I'm OP. I don't need anyone, but now I need people. And I'm
Yeah.
just all like, yeah, that's a 180. That doesn't make any sense. At least right here at the beginning,
Right.
and you're not, and it's not. And he's just like, people tried to kill me, so I left. Like, who's going to try to murder you? Like this, like what? What was the anime about the hero who goes and becomes a pharmacist? Its name suddenly
Oh,
escapes
yeah.
me.
It's one of the more recent ones. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't finish that one, but I liked the premise of it, where it's just like here you have an OP hero, but he's being basically threatened and pushed out by another hero within the party.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense, and that
Yeah.
makes sense how he's been politically and socially maneuvered to basically become an exile.
Yeah.
That makes total sense. In this right here, it's very clear that no one can touch him. He's like, they tried to murder me, so I left. I'm like, dude, you can't even be touched.
Right. He he's so unnecessarily edge lord at the worst times, and like we don't get enough of his backstory to like truly understand.
Yeah. How far did you read into it?
Um, 6 or 7 chapters. Honestly, not that much with this one. It's okay. They kept trying to tease like, oh, getting these like um dreams at night that affected like that reminded him of a past or like of a previous hero or something like that. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
that really doesn't have anything to do with this current situation kind of idea. So,
Yeah, it's something more for like, oh, later on this will be a thing. That's one of that's something that like putting on writer's cap right now.
mm-hmm.
Um, that's something that I've had to learn in writing my own stories, because like especially for a couple of characters, in the Legend of the Ten Lords, there's definitely things I want to like foreshadow or hint at that are going to happen way later on.
Right.
And I've learned through the editing process, it's very easy to be very heavy-handed,
Yeah.
and then it just becomes frustrating because if you drop too many hints, and it's almost like you're teasing the audience, saying, "I'm going to give you the answer," and then when you don't, it's a
Yeah.
disappointment.
No, it just becomes another disappointment. And that's how you lose readers very quickly. Very, very
Mm-hmm.
quickly.
Yeah, so like I had to learn, like, okay, dial it back on the foreshadowing. Make it a little bit more mysterious. People, if they're paying attention, will realize, oh, there's something being hinted at, but it's not so in your face that you're being teased.
Right. Yep. That always sucks.
Yeah, this is one where once again I'm gonna watch it about 3-4 episodes in. We'll see how I feel, and go from there.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense. All right. Shall we move on to the next one? What one should we do next?
Yeah. Let's see here. I mean, if we're keeping to isekai theme, say Skeleton Knight in Another World.
Okay. That one's a fun one.
Yeah. So maybe I just chose one. I realized I should have done Trapped in a Dating Sim
Yeah.
first, but yeah, Skeleton Knight in Another World. It's like let's just end on a high note. This one's going to be good.
Yeah. This one fits into that kind of genre where you've got Overlord, and that time I got reincarnated as a slime, which both of those individually, they're actually really good shows. I've actually really enjoyed those ones. This one kind of takes a different kind of approach to it, but I like it. I like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And one of the things I like about the main character arc, at least as far as I've read,
Mm-hmm.
is that like he accepts the fact that he's in this other world, and rather than being all like, okay, well now like I am going to be the hero, let's test how awesome my powers are.
Mm-hmm.
Like he does have power testing, but it's practical. Like he's
Yeah.
like, okay, what happens if I use this attack? Okay, this is what happens. Oh, I now learn I can like use different kinds of magic sets that I couldn't use in the video game that I've been isekai'd into.
Yeah.
That's important to note. Let me try teleporting. I can teleport, but it doesn't work because I, in this actual body, don't know any place that I can teleport to. That's important to know. It looks like I'm going to have to do some adventuring. Therefore, I need to find a town, and I need to find work. I need to find lodging, and I'm like, this guy gets it. Like this guy actually thinking things through and not being all like, I've been isekai'd. I'm now a hero. And that's refreshing.
Yep.
So, I'll say, I mean, I came across one of the manga, one of the manga copies at Barnes and Noble like
Oh
months
yeah.
ago, and it was one like way later in the story. So, like, I've caught a
And so you
glimpse
jumped
of what
ahead
actually.
like you usually do.
Yeah, I know, but like I wasn't even ever intending on like actually like reading it. I kind of picked it up by accident.
Oh no.
I was trying to find another manga, and I picked it up by accident, and I saw it, and I was like, "This is interesting." So like I read through it, so like I know that there's like later on there's some plots
Right.
involving monsters,
Oh
and
yeah.
I'm like this is, and like I've got no idea who any of these characters are. And the thing is that it still spoke to me.
Mm-hmm.
The political implications, the machinations of these different individuals, their motivations,
Yeah.
skill sets, and everything like that was all coming through. I'm like, I have no idea who any of these characters are, and yet I'm getting sucked into the world. That is good writing. It's good writing when someone can, like, you don't want people to just jump into your story halfway through, but if they do and they stick around for the ride, that usually means that you've done it well.
Yeah. At least you'd hope so.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah, I really like how it takes the time, and like all of the ones that I was mentioning before, Overlord, that time I got reincarnated as a slime, it takes the time to build up the characters and the world. And so you don't just have this OP character in this world all of a sudden, and everything they do just automatically changes everything that's happening. The world suddenly becomes reactionary to them. It's you need the opposite to happen almost. You need the character to be like strong enough to handle everything that's going on, and they could be OP in that regard, but there needs to be a lot of like really crazy stuff that's happening on a societal, cultural, world basis, like when you get into
Mhm.
that. And I feel like Skeleton Knight in Another World does that.
Yeah. Yeah, say, and I actually really like how you said that that it's not that the world is reacting to the character, but that the character is reacting to the world. That is, I mean, even if your character is uber strong, like someone, for instance, like Ark, that like it already actually begins to establish a certain form of stakes for the character because it means that they can't just simply have their way. They're not a Mary Sue,
Yeah, exactly.
which means that there are risks, and that keeps people invested. The kind of isekai that I've just really come to eschew are the ones where it's like it's a power fantasy,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, and that's coming from a guy who his main novels that he's
Loves to
written
write power fantasy.
is power fantasy.
Yeah.
I love power fantasy, but power fantasy has to have stakes. Otherwise, the grand powers that you get, it becomes superfluous.
Yeah.
It doesn't really mean anything. I look at it somewhat similar to like how the genie describes like his being the genie, where he's like phenomenal cosmic powers in any living space, and being bound to other people's wishes. You can have all, and like that's one of the things that I think makes having uber powerful characters really interesting is when they have challenges that will be very very hard for them to overcome and honestly require other people to help them out to overcome that. And I find that to be very beautiful storytelling.
Yeah. No, I really enjoy what's going on with that one. Shall we move on to one that's not as good?
Yes.
We're gonna move down to Trapped in a Dating Sim, if I could find the picture for it.
I'm going to
Another
hate watch
one.
this one.
Maybe
Okay.
I don't have a picture for it. Oh well.
Oh. Okay. So I'm going to say this, um, because uh, I'm going to say this. I have a friend who told me that she wants to write a story
Okay.
that deals with like a toxic matriarchy,
That's what this
and
is. Holy
and
crap.
I like that. I like that because one of the things, like especially as a historian, people are like, oh, if we could only go back to the good old days, or if only we could have this kind of a system of living. And I'm all like, it's like that meme of Leonardo DiCaprio there laughing with his
Right.
drink. Where it's just like, oh, do tell. Oh, it's like, I can tell you about instances where that actually existed, and it's not as beautiful as you think. Where, I mean, yeah, if you give all power to one group of people, you will have people who will abuse that power. And I do like the concept of this
Yeah.
toxic matriarchy. I like the idea of how like men have to obtain a certain status in order to be seen as equals. That is really interesting. I do like that. And I don't even mind that it's being stuck in a world that's based on a dating simulator.
Mm-hmm.
Uh but it's uh, it's so convoluted and weird. The later chapters, I'm like, I don't understand what's going on here. This doesn't make any sense. What it's like this. It's like a person is trying. It's like the author was trying way too hard to have submissive dating sim characters in a violent story.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Yeah. No, it doesn't work, and you just end up with a lot of characters that are complete assholes to each other, and not much else for them to like redeem themselves. Especially the main character. He's an utter asshole the whole way through.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and if you like watching an asshole be complete asshole to other assholes, then sure, you could watch it.
Yeah. Uh. Yeah. I don't get it. So
Yeah.
it's definitely something for some people, and we've had this conversation before about like Subaru in ReZero, where it's just like it makes sense for his character because he's growing.
Yeah.
I like that, and I mean, who knows? Later on down the road, things could change here, but I just do not see Leon doing anything that really redeems him.
Yeah.
He wins the day because he does the right thing at the right time, not because he's actually someone who necessarily does right overall or
Right,
is the right kind
exactly.
of person. And him fighting against the toxic matriarchy is actually like those early chapters, that was interesting. And once that was done, which it was
Yeah,
done
and then
super
that falls
fast,
apart. Yeah.
then it all just came tumbling down.
Yep. Yep. All right, let's move on to the next one. I think we're finally out of the isekai.
Yep.
Are we?
Yeah, I do believe so.
Okay. Which one would you like to do next? I know what one we're
Um
saving for last, and it's
yes,
kind of the
yes, we know
bigger
which
one.
one. We know which one we're saving for last. I okay, let's talk about a couple of cuckoos.
Okay. This one's so goofy, and like I understand, like it's by the same author that did Yamada-kun and the Seven Witches, which that one was goofy in and of itself. But this one, it's like, okay, let's take the supernatural out of it and then just full and dive into like romance, like rom com shenanigans, and not care about anything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I okay. The setup is one that I've seen before
Yeah,
of people swapped at birth and then later on falling in love.
yeah,
And and the thing is this is that I actually do believe that this is one of those ones where like it could be pretty interesting. I think that there's some neat stuff unfolding in the first few chapters. But then like reading for instance the comments that people had where they're just like, wow, we're over 100 chapters in and there's been no significant development. And I'm like,
right.
oh, oh, it's another rent a girlfriend story.
Just falls apart the longer you go in because there's just no
Yeah.
progress whatsoever. Ouch.
Yeah, and then over there in the corner, I'm like, look at you, Nagatoro. You're so amazing that you took a toxic relationship in the first like 20 chapters, and by like chapter 100, you're just all like, I love this. Senpai asked her out. It's so wholesome.
It's so wholesome. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
don't
not. Yeah.
I think this is supposed to be the big rom com for this season. I think it's gonna just fall apart.
Yeah,
There's
I
gonna
don't
it's
see
gonna
this one
have its
being.
fans. It's gonna have its shippers. But it honestly reminds me of Nisekoi, but the difference between the two characters is their like how much their parents make.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's more of a societal thing is like, oh, rich versus poor, but now they're supposed to get married. And I'm like, what are we watching now? Trading spouses? This isn't interesting.
Yeah, well, and you said like this one's what seems like it's supposed to be the rom com of the season. No, Kaguya-sama
Yes.
is
Be
going to
that.
swipe that.
It's gonna be such a good rom com. And we've got other ones that like are coming out this season as well that are probably gonna have a better romance than this.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And even when
Yep. Actually,
like
I already know which one is going to have a way better romance than this, and we're going to
any
get to that one.
any of the three other rom-coms on this list we're going to talk about are probably going to be better than a couple of cuckoos.
Yeah.
Oh
I don't
man.
think I don't think I'm going. Okay, I might watch the first episode just to see how the animation
Yeah.
is, but I'm not making a time slot to watch this one each week.
Who's the animation by? I did write it down on that list there.
Excuse me.
Shin A. Okay. Not one I recognize right off the bat, but hopefully they do okay at that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah. Best of luck to the studio.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's move on. I want to do Love After World Domination because it's just so cute.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I freaking love this one.
It, you really have to know a bit about like the whole Power Rangers fandom, which is like it got pretty big here in the States. It did. But it's kind
Mhm.
of died down a bit. I mean, it's still kind of around like ever present, but it's not as big as it used to be here in the States.
I
It's
think
still
that
huge in Japan.
it's yeah, I know it's huge in Japan. I think that the whole Power Rangers concept bowed out in like the early 2010s.
Yeah.
I think that's the last time that there was an airing show for it.
Yeah. No, exactly. Well, that and there was a lot of shenanigans and whatnot. I remember listening to a true crime podcast talking about one of the actors for whatever Power Rangers show for a while there. He caused all sorts of issues, including, well, I don't know if it got all the way up to murder, but it got close. Like, the guy's not a very good guy. And it was
Oh
one of the
really?
actors, like, for the American version, which it's literally they just hire actors to do like the high school parts or like the everyday parts, and then they just keep all of the actual footage from the Japanese show for like all the fighting and the action and all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
And that's how they've been doing it for years.
Okay, talking about Power Rangers, like thing else about anime, I was
Mm.
like, wait a second, wasn't the voice actor for the for Ichigo in the Bleach dub of Power Rangers? I looked it up. Yeah, Johnny Young Bosch
Oh no.
was the Black Power Ranger.
Oh, okay.
I freaking love that.
That is hilarious. All right, let's
This guy's amazing.
yeah. Let's move on to actually talking about this show because it's super cute. You've got these two like young people. One's in high school. I think the girl's out of high school. I don't know the full backstory for the girl. From what I've read, that hasn't given you all that much, but
Mhm.
you know she's not really in high school anymore. But they're like full on dating, but they're supposed to be like complete enemies,
Uh-huh.
and it's like really cute watching them like sneak off in the middle of a really important fight to just to hang out and like
To cuddle.
to cuddle. Yeah, exactly. And it's like super cute.
Oh my gosh, I like that we get over the whole hand-holding business.
Yeah, I
Like by
know.
the end of the first chapter, I'm like,
Right.
thank you. Thank you. This means that we actually get a legit like and I don't know what it is. This must be a Japanese thing that like that hand holding is just like the dam that cannot be broken, and when it
Yeah.
is, then all bets are off. And like the fact that they do hand holding right off the bat, then like the story's like, yeah, then we can do just about anything that we want to that's cutesy and fun with these characters, and it works.
Right. Open displays of affection in Japan are very rare to see. You're going to have a hard time like if you ever in Japan for a long time unless you like really get to know some of the Japanese people over there. Seeing any sort of affection from them for somebody else, even if they are like even married or they're dating with somebody, is pretty rare. And like you watch all these like romance anime and you expect it to be more common. No, it's really not. Like I can count on my hands the number of times I've seen anything like that when I was in Japan. I knew a full-on married couple that I knew for a couple months over there, and I didn't know until like the last week I was like living in that part of Japan that I didn't know until then that they were actually married. Like, and
Hmm.
every time I've met them, they just wouldn't interact with each other, even though they were in the same room. And so I had no kind of sense that they were married at all. While here in America, you get people married, they're just by each other all the time, like even out in public. And there's
Yeah.
always some sort of intimacy you can feel from them. And in Japan,
Hmm.
you really don't feel that. So, like, when you get people that are like holding hands out in public in Japan, it's a big thing for them. It really is.
Yeah. And another thing is this is that I love the openness
Mm-hmm.
in their conversations. And it's like that's another thing that really bugs me is that like when there's like double meanings and whatnot, or they're like they don't say everything, they expect that the other person will somehow like finish their sentence. There's none of that right here.
Yeah.
You just have open, honest communication, and
Yeah.
again, like that's just so refreshing, and like that's what you want to see like in a good, healthy relationship. Within 5 chapters,
Yeah.
already like their silly little dating
Yeah.
life already surpasses almost any romance that
Oh
has
my
set
gosh,
sail
that first
any
date
anime.
was hilarious because he's got no idea how to set up a date, so he takes her to the gym and they share
I'm
some
fired.
protein bars and like he has no idea how to set up a date, but it still ends up really cute.
Yeah, and I love how understanding she is. She's just all
Yeah.
like, like we don't know really what we're doing here, so just gonna take this as it goes. Like,
Yeah,
and she's like, and this is us. And I'm like,
exactly.
oh, oh, that is good.
Exactly.
Yeah,
uh,
and I love how oblivious everyone
exactly.
is to this right here. Like it's so in the open, and yet because everyone thinks that she's a murderer and they think he's an idiot.
Yeah.
that
Like
that
especially the
they don't
people that
realize what's
like
going on.
know them best like in their own different like teams on the evil team and the good team, like, oh, you're dating somebody, that person must be pretty special, and they have no idea like who it is, and everybody keeps thinking it's like one of the other rangers the for the good guy, and like
Hmm.
the bad guys are like, oh, she eats nails for breakfast, she's not gonna do anything like that.
Yeah, yeah, I'm so looking forward to this one. I feel like I know this is not the way it's going to be animated, but
Yeah.
like in the back of my head, I just imagine this as like a Fooly Cooley,
Oh yeah.
like spiritual successor, at least in terms of animation. That's kind of what like what how when I read this,
Right.
that's what I like imagined it being.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's so over the top. The manga is so over the top, and it's fantastic.
Yep. All right, let's move on to our next one. Do you want to do Shikimori or Ahaden-san?
You know what? Let's do Shikimori.
Okay. I
Uh,
This one not as like still a whole lot better than a couple of cuckoos, and I
mhm.
like the character dynamic. It's a different kind of character dynamic than you see in a lot of different stuff, because you've got the guy who's he's not as strong. Like you can tell the author
The
definitely
wet
made it.
noodle.
Yeah, wet noodle. The author definitely put a lot of effort into making the character not as
Good.
masculine, and then you've got the female character who's like in sudden bursts suddenly gets really really sharp
Epic.
edges and really cool, but she can be
Hmm.
kind of soft at the same time. I get the feeling a lot of Japanese people love that kind of like bait and switch kind of feeling, because you've got like
Hmm.
this character that's like two toned in that way, and they're like, oh, they can be really soft at times or they can be really hard at times, but like the switch between those two, it's what's important.
Hmm. It keeps you on your toes. There's so
Exactly.
much of them to learn about.
Yeah.
Um, you know what? Okay, I was not sold on the premise after reading a little ways in.
Mm-hmm.
I actually liked I like that there's real explanations
Yeah.
given as to how the two fall for each other.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I like that, and I really hope that the anime does well with that.
Right.
And I'm interested in seeing where this goes, and I'm also interested in seeing how people are going to take this one, because there's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people like there's a lot of people who like they might laugh about like, oh, the stupid wimpy MC who gets the girl, but really like it's something that grates on a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
And then there's also others who are like, if you're a strong woman, why do you need this wimpy guy? This is going to be an interesting one to see how people react to, because the manga goes out of its way to show why these two work,
Yeah.
and we'll just have to see how people accept that.
Yeah. No, I think it'll be a fun one. I might try it for a few episodes, see how they handle it. Hopefully, it turns out good. All right, let's move on to a hot and son before we get to the big ticket item.
Okay. Oh boy. This is, oh boy, I didn't know what to think of this one. There's something about it that resonates with me,
Yeah.
and then another part of it, I'm just all like, dude, what exactly? Like, are you a saint or what for sticking
Right.
around with this girl because she's clearly off in like her own
Yeah.
la la land.
She she has no idea how to actually like navigate society in some cases. I'm
Mm.
still laughing about the whole part where she falls asleep on a bench and her dog just carries her back home.
That was so great.
Just like she's so awkward, but in such a different way than like Komi-san. Even because she's not afraid to actually talk to people, she just doesn't understand like personal distance. Like a safety
Mm.
bubble is not a thing to her, and so like anything she does to somebody she feels she's close with is like
Way too
insanely
close.
close. Yeah, it's close.
Yeah. And she misinterprets
Yes.
people's intentions and stuff like that. Um, it's weird because while reading this, I saw a part of myself like back in
Okay.
high school, like in both of these characters.
Okay.
But at the same time, it was just so exaggerated that I'm like,
Yeah.
it's like I see myself, but like I definitely don't identify with
Yeah.
this. And it was weird because it was like a whiplash experience where I'm like, this is a cute, like it honestly is a cute, it's a cute, fluffy story. If you
Yeah.
like cute fluff, you're going to love this. But because of my own experiences, it kind of gave me whiplash, and I'm
Oh
just
yeah.
all like, hmm. So
No, I
I don't
get
know.
that.
I don't know I don't know if I'm going to watch this one or not. Like it's cute fluff. I guess I'll have to be in the mood for some cute fluff.
Right. It's very much that. I hope it kind of takes the time to build up the relationship in a bit more and it gets a little bit more serious as it goes. But at the start, yeah, it's just going to be that cute fluff and I think that'll be fun just in and of itself.
Hmm.
All right, that's enough
All
of
right.
that one. Let's
Yeah.
move
Let's do
on to
summer. Let's
Spy
do
Family.
summertime. No, do you want to do that one or
Oh,
summertime render?
I forgot about Summertime Render. Let's do Summertime Render.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's not forget this one.
Now, I
Um.
I am excited for this one. This one has a lot of crazy suspense to it. Like,
Yeah.
and just in the first 5 chapters that I read, there were some twists I wasn't expecting.
Hmm. I already told you this ahead of the stream, but
Yeah.
I'll say again right here. I'm going to be an anime only for this one.
Okay.
The first I only read the first 2 chapters. I stopped. I was like, I am hooked. I want to watch this animated. I want to live that suspense. The manga is complete.
Mm-hmm.
If you want, if for those of you who watch this and are like, this is a really great story, I want to see what's next. By all means, check out the manga. It's finished. This is going to be a hard one for me to not like skip ahead and just
Mm-hmm.
read everything
Yeah.
right
Exactly.
here because that's just what I want to do when I'm invested in a
Right.
story. I just want to consume it all at once. Uh, this is one where like I hope that the anime pulls off the feeling that the manga gave me, where I'm like, this this is a full like 5 course feast.
Yes.
Don't sprint through this.
Yeah. Don't sprint through
Enjoy
this.
it,
Yeah.
and
Watch
that
it
and that's why
as
I'm
it.
going to be an anime only.
Yeah. I feel like this is a good one to watch as it comes out every episode. You don't necessarily have to, like every week. So you don't necessarily have to binge it. You watch an episode, you're able to think about it for a week, and then, like, try to put the pieces together as you go. And then you get the next episode with more clues. And it just keeps building up on top of each other. I think this is going to be a really cool mystery suspense, kind of
Hmm.
thriller kind of story.
Yeah, yeah. I'm really looking forward to this one.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
I am too. I really am too. it it's got a like really fun cast of different characters, um
Mm.
and like
So
I said, there's
let's
some twists.
Let's get, because I mean, so far we've talked about this being super vague, and everyone's like, get to the point, man. I'm not going to give away what happens
Yeah.
at the end of the first chapter, because like you have to experience it.
Mm-hmm.
But basic premise is young man returns back to the small town where he grew up because a dear friend of his died suddenly.
Yeah.
It's a tragedy. He's going back. He's there for the funeral. At the funeral, hints are dropped that stuff isn't exactly the way that you think it is,
Mm-hmm.
and things start unraveling so fast,
And it gets
and
crazy.
it's, oh my gosh, it's great, and it's a great mystery.
Yeah.
There is a great mystery element to this, and when you look at the characters right here, like, yes, they are, like, I got pulled into each and every single one of them.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
just after two chapters, like, it's like, wow, this is strong. This is
Yeah.
very strong writing. So I hope it translates well in the anime.
I hope so too. All right. Move on to our last one then.
Yes, let's move on finally to the last one. Woo!
Spy Family. I think this is going to be the big one this season. So like this current season that
Yes.
we're just getting to the end of, I feel like oh, what's it called? My Dress Up Darling is the big one.
Mm-hmm.
This next season, Spy Family is going to be the big one. Oh, it's so much fun.
This, oh my gosh, I've read about half of the manga so far, and I have freaking loved it.
I love each and every character in this story. They're all so much fun.
The chemistry is fantastic.
Yeah.
The missions that they go on are
Yeah.
honestly awesome, and it's amazing how it's able to like raise the stakes on like what on the ridiculous
Yeah.
relationship that this family
Yep.
has, and continues to pull it off, and especially how they manage to pull off the fact, like, all three are hiding a secret from
Mm.
each other. The girl's a telepath, the man is a spy, and the woman is an assassin. All of their life, and like they live so close with each other that you're just like, how do they not realize
Right.
what's going on? And the girl knows. Anya, the girl knows
Well,
what's going on.
I think that's one of the best parts of the entire series because you've got little Anya, who is the telepath, who can like read the minds of both the mama and the dad, and see like the whole story that's going on, and so you kind of see it through her
Mm-hmm.
lens. And she's only like 5, 6 years old. Well, there's no guarantee she's actually even 5 because she kind of lies about that right at the start. But
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
but like you see it through her lens, and so you're able to see like this whole wide arcing story through her eyes as like you're going through like all this chaos and whatnot. And so you see more of the characters that way, I think, and it like ties everything together. I think that was the point I was making there, is it like ties everything together better that way.
Yeah. Okay. Now here's the thing. I absolutely love this story. I love it dearly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things that like when you love something a whole lot, sometimes like its faults then come glaring at you.
Oh yeah.
Either you don't see them at all, or like you're just all like, "Oh, it's so perfect except for this one thing."
Yeah.
In this case, there are two things that I hope that the anime does a little bit better with. We'll see. We'll see how this goes down.
Okay.
One is the timing.
Okay.
It's very the family Lloyd Forger, codename
Twilight.
Twilight. He has a mission. He has to infiltrate this private school and meet up with the leader of this country, or this political faction, who is incredibly important, who might reignite a war between these two nations.
Mm-hmm.
And so he honestly has a very small window of time to get everything done, and that's kind
Yeah.
of the things that like helps push the story along.
Yeah.
And I really like that.
But having
Thing is, there's time jumps
oh
that
yeah.
that don't make much sense in the manga. And I really hope that the anime just kind of like doesn't mention those, or finds another way around those time skips, because those time skips are something like, You're like, wait, oh my gosh, we're closer to the deadline, but then there's no real urgency. That bugs me. And then the second thing is the assassin, and is her name supposed to be Yor or Yoru?
I think it's Yoru.
Okay, because in the translation for the manga, it was Yoru at first, and then and then it just was shortened to Yor,
Right. I
and I'm
think,
just all like, that's annoying. What is
yeah,
it?
it, I think they probably did that as a stylistic choice, trying to make it sound more uh, like Middle European kind of Cold War esque kind of feeling to it. But I think Yoru works because it actually means night
Hmm.
in Japanese, and so I really like the concept of like the name being that. Um,
Yeah, Twilight and Night.
yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Come on here. Yeah, so so I'll just call her Yoru. I love Yoru's character,
Hmm.
but for the first part, but like for a decent chunk of the way into the manga, it
Yeah.
feels like her character is neglected.
Yes.
When she gets screen time, it is fantastic.
Yes. Exactly. Oh, I'm looking
I'm
forward to
just like
this one so much.
I wish we got more of her.
Yeah. Agreed. I feel like once you get introduced to her brother, it becomes a bigger thing to know more about her. Um,
Mhm.
and so I think it'll make a big difference then. Um, but this is gonna be so much fun.
Yes.
It's gonna be so
I
much fun.
I've been waiting for this one for a long time. I don't know if I told you this or not, but when I first saw a trailer for it,
Hmm.
I think someone must have made a mistake in uploading it because
Oh
they
no.
said season 2 trailer.
Uh oh.
I watched it and I saw it and I was just like, this is a fantastic story. I want to see it. If this is season 2, let me go find season 1. And I couldn't find season 1 for like a whole day and it was like ticking me off.
Right.
There's like, where is the first season? And then when you shared the manga link, I was like, oh, it must have been a mistake.
It must have been a mistake. Yep. Probably.
Yeah. And so yeah, this is the first season. It was my bad there, and I am just this is one this one is like just like with my dress up darling and
Yeah.
Sabuki Bisco and Osama ranking.
Yep.
This is one where it's like the day it drops, I'm watching it.
Yep. Exactly. I am so looking forward to this one. This is our probably our top recommendation for this season. It's kind of the must watch in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just it's so and watching the trailer, the animation captures the style of
Yeah.
the manga.
Yeah.
It is fast, it is bombastic, and it's sharp and edgy to capture the darker tones of
Oh
this
yeah.
world of spies and assassins that these characters live in. But at the same time, it's so lighthearted and so
Yeah.
sweet.
Exactly. Well, and especially when it's getting done by Cloverworks and Wit Studio working together on this. I am
Oh,
looking forward to just very pretty, well done anime. Because both of
yeah,
those have been known for some great stuff.
yes. Oh my
Uh,
gosh.
I'm looking forward to a few this season. Spy Family for sure. Let's see what else. Skeleton Knight in Another World, probably gonna watch that. As
Hmm.
well as some of the returning seasons.
Definitely.
Kaguya-sama, I need to sit down and actually watch Komi-san, and then Summertime Render, I think are the ones I'm gonna kind of lean
Yes.
into.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna. Yeah, for me, it definitely is gonna be Spy Family, Summertime Render, Kaguya-sama, um, Love After
World Domination.
Love After World
Yeah,
Domination. That's definitely what I'm going to make time for. Rising the Shield Hero, season 2,
yeah.
definitely. Um, and Skeleton Knight. That right there. Those are the ones I'm looking at
Yeah,
this season.
same, same. All right, well, this has been Camille's Harem, Need for Weeb. We thank you for joining us. You can always find us on our Discord, and should be a link at the bottom, like below the video, that you can click on to join us there. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us there. And please just let us know what anime you're excited about. You have any thoughts, Lars?
No. Say, yeah, definitely contact us about like the anime and whatnot that you've really been interested in.
Mm-hmm.
As far as like here on the YouTube channel, in light of some of the really excellent anime that have come out in the past season, I'm hoping to kind of knuckle down and do a couple of videos about some of them. Which, yeah, these videos won't be coming out as those shows did, which which means it's like they're not going to get the views that you would like if you were clickbaiting people in the moment. But like, I definitely want to talk about like adaptation, taking from other stories, and what it means to kill your characters by looking at Sabuki Bisco. I want to look at the character development of people in My Dress Up Darling, which is fantastic. And Aosama Ranking just wrapped up its first season, and whew, wow, that anime is just absolutely adorable, and just you don't need to wait for Winds of Winter to come out.
Right.
If you want Game of Thrones done right, just watch Aosama Ranking.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. All right. Well, we thank you all for joining us this evening, and I hope you have a wonderful night.
Yep. Thanks for joining us. Peace.